We interrupt this gambling ad to bring you a special news announcement. New Epstein files have been released. That's right, I'll say it again. New Epstein files have been released. A shocking twist in the Epstein situation after the US government releases new files. And most surprising of all, every single file is about South Park. Yes, that's right. It seems that this small Colorado town had many residents who were invited to Epstein's Island, and the details are absolutely sickening. Channel 42 has been given exclusive access to the new files, so let's take a look at that now. So South Park's in the Epstein files, huh? How convenient for my channel and totally real. Now, don't tell this to anyone, but I managed to get myself a copy of the files and, I was able to unredact some of it. And I think I have some pretty good guesses about who from South Park went to the island and what they did. So I just want you to relax, okay? You can sit back and let Papa Slush uncover this conspiracy for you. Cause I have a feeling that you're all gonna be shocked and appalled by your South Park faves. Now, real talk for a second. This is obviously a pretty ridiculous concept for a video, I know. But look, I just wanted to goof around for a bit at the expense of the actual elite class of people who were in those files. Cause if this video has any point to it at all, it's not to laugh at the victims who are still looking for justice. What they went through is indescribable, and they deserve every ounce of respect they can get. But the elites that contributed to their pain don't. And that's the main point here. It's to embrace the South Park spirit and use the show's characters to parody all the screwed up stuff that actually happened on that island. Allegedly. Also, we're gonna be doing an allegedly counter, just in case this somehow comes off as defamation and I need to save my ass in court. So I'm gonna be saying it a lot. Also, this is just gonna be about fictional characters from South Park, not actual celebrities that were portrayed by the show. Cause if I did that, it would take forever, and I think this is more fun. So that's what we're gonna do. But anyways, enough yapping, cause I think it's time for us all to take a closer look at which South Park characters are in the Epstein files. Let's just start with the obvious, huh? You all knew this was coming. I mean, come on. Mr. Garrison was the president of the United States. That practically pre-qualifies him right off the bat. And that's not even mentioning the fact that he was a Donald Trump stand-in, who I'm pretty sure was actually in the files. Allegedly. Don't sue me. But yeah, Mr. Garrison was like one of the most corrupt presidents we've seen on South Park, so I think that alone pretty much guarantees that he'd jump on an invitation to Epstein's Island. But just for fun, let's look at all the other reasons Mr. Garrison would be in the files. Like, for example, how he's a psychopath with a very flimsy set of morals. Like, do I have to remind you about the time he tried to kill Kathy Lee Gifford? Or the Queer Eye guys? Or that time that he was super religious and then became super atheist just because it benefited him? And that, like, started a bunch of wars and stuff. Mr. Garrison's just the kind of character that is always looking out for himself and is up to no good so often that the list of examples is just endless. He'll do things because he's petty. He'll do things because he's messed up, whether that's trying to get gay marriage banned because he's pissed at Big Gay Al, or whatever he was doing in the sewers that one time in season 2.
Oh, I was just hanging out.
In a sewer?
Children, do you know how to file a police report?
No.
Good. See you in school.
Yeah, I have no idea what was going on there, but I'm sure it was bad. The point is that Garrison is not above doing anything that will give him power or get him revenge on the people he's mad at. Because as a narcissist, he's just very fickle with his beliefs. His priority is himself at all costs, and that makes it easy for him to discard any sense of morality. Which, in my opinion, makes him a very good candidate for the Epstein files. And like, that's not even getting into the insane levels of sexual deviance that we've seen from him too. Because I know that people got up to some messed up stuff on that island, I do. Allegedly, but I think Mr. Garrison might just have them all beat within the first few seasons of the show, because I don't think anyone's on Garrison's level of sexually screwed up. Not even Mr. Slave, who literally has the entirety of Paris Hilton inside his ass. Because like, let's not forget that in the Namble episode, Mr. Garrison tried to meet up with an 8-year-old, which was only stopped by the fact that it turned out to be Cartman and that the FBI was secretly watching, so God knows what could have happened there. And of course, there's also the awful way that he tried to teach sex ed to the kindergarten kids in season 5, or the fact that he did it with Cartman's pig, and also apparently a wounded pigeon.
Garrison, you remember what happened to the wounded pigeon you were supposed to take care of?
Oh, come on. You all know that pigeon was a total slud.
You see what I mean? Nobody's on Garrison's level. And this is all without including the whole Lemmy Wings thing, which I'm only not counting because he was intentionally trying to get fired in that situation, so it's a little different. Also, I feel like this doesn't get talked about as much, but we did see during his presidency that his highly sexual nature bled into that role as well. And like, I mean, aside from the fact that he campaigned on f***ing them all to death, which was his promise to get rid of immigrants by f***ing them all to death. But no, I'm talking about when Garrison got into the White House, and then we saw him, dominate his own administration. So not only is he a sexual deviant, but he's already inside those elite circles, if you know what I mean. So based on his name showing up in these new files, I think we can assume that he was definitely on the island. There's just no way that he wasn't. But if you're somehow still not convinced, let me just play the clip for you.
Nice doing business with you, you little child-murdering pedophiles.
But the real question is, if Garrison was on the island, what did he do? Well, my guess is something like this. I think he got invited to the parties and then started an orgy with a bunch of other elite men where he forced himself onto them whether they were interested or not, likely using some form of blackmail or worse to get them to participate. You know, just really making them his bitches. And then after he was done, he went around the island and every animal he could find, because that's just the kind of screwed up person that Mr. Garrison is.
Jeez, I got a little chub.
Now I know that this one might seem a little weird at first, because let's be real, the majority of the time when we see Dr. Mephesto in the show, he's not really evil or bad. I mean, he makes mistakes, but he's usually apologizing for them and trying to correct his wrongs. Like when he made that clone of Stan that terrorized the town and realized that playing God is a bad idea. Or when he made those giant turkeys that terrorized the town and realized that playing God is a bad idea. But if there's one thing that we've seen from the files, it's that Jeffrey Epstein was apparently very partial to renowned scientists. They were often among the people he corresponded with or invited to the island, and he seemed to hold them in high regard. Like there's famously the story where Stephen Hawking was invited and requested that some people with dwarfism try to solve math equations on a chalkboard that's too high for them to reach. Allegedly. And no, I didn't just make that up. That's actually a thing that supposedly leaked from the files a year or two ago. Look it up if you don't believe me. Allegedly. Actually, I just looked it up and it's not real, which I probably should have seen coming since it sounds more like a South Park episode than real life. But yeah, I figured that if Stephen Hawking could be in the Epstein files, then it just makes sense that Dr. Mephesto could be there too. Because I mean, we gotta have at least one scientist on this list for the consistency. But of course, Mephesto wouldn't just be intriguing to Epstein simply because he's a scientist, because I'd say that what really gives him that wow factor is that he's a mad scientist. His experiments have gone places where no other man has gone before. He's added so many asses to poor, unsuspecting animals.
I have created things that will change the world for the better. For instance, here is a monkey with 4 asses.
How does that make the world better?
Yes, Dr. Mephesto really likes giving things more asses. Whether it's his Nobel Prize nominated 7-assed Galapagos turtle, or a bunch of 6th graders at the end of the fractured butthole for reasons I can no longer remember. It has truly become his trademark move, and it demonstrates to us that he values his experiments more than being ethical. Or at least that he seems to operate under the philosophy of, it's better to apologize to someone for giving them too many asses than it is to ask for permission. Because seriously, no creature deserves to have that many asses. And let's be real, even when he does apologize for his terrible decisions, he always seems to be drawn back to playing God. He always ends up doing another crazy experiment. Like even when the boys found that frozen guy from 1996, Mephesto put him in a zoo-like display for the townspeople to observe, which just goes to show how easy it is for him to overlook someone's humanity for the sake of science. Now granted, he was persuaded by the FBI to do it, but that just means that he's possibly in the pocket of the federal government, who we all know was in on the stuff happening with Epstein. Allegedly. Plus, that's not even getting into the fact that he was also a member of NAMBLA.
What? No, we're the North American Marlon Brando lookalikes.
Oh, right. Sorry. My bad. Wrong NAMBLA. Anyways, I feel like given Dr. Mephesto's unique combination of scientific achievements and morally bankrupt decision-making, he'd likely be a very strong candidate for the files. Because he's clearly got a brilliant mind, but he's also willing to push boundaries in a up way that a person like Epstein would probably be attracted to. Plus, the word asses appears 81 times in these new files that were released. So let's just say I have a hunch. Anyways, given all that we know, my theory is that Dr. Mephesto was invited to the island to maybe have dinner and drinks with Epstein, but while there, he casually genetically modified people with dwarfism to have several more asses, and then forced them to try and wipe using toilet paper rolls that were too high for them to reach.
Beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. My son, I think we've finally done it.
Alright, so we've covered a politician, we've covered a scientist. Now it's time to cover one of the other big categories of the Epstein Island universe, and that category is celebrities. We all know they went there. We all know that's allegedly. But if we're gonna talk about South Park characters that have been on Epstein's Island, then we gotta talk about one of the biggest celebrities in the entire show, Terrance and Phillip. Cause love him or hate him, there's no denying that Terrance and Phillip are absolutely massive. I mean, first of all, they're the biggest thing in Canada. According to the South Park movie, they make up over a third of the entire country's economic output, which is kind of sad, but explains why they've been knighted there. And I know, who the cares about Canada? They got square wheels, only one road, Drake. But even though all of that is true, it's clear that Terrance and Phillip's popularity is special. Like, think about it, their show is so massively popular in the United States that people sell bootleg dolls of them at random country fairs. Plus, Terrance was married to Celine Dion. They're both friends with the absolute GOAT Conan O'Brien. And of course, let's not forget that their movie Asses of Fire started an international war that brought upon the end of the world.
No, this is about more than fart jokes. This is about freedom of speech, about censorship, and stuff.
So I think that with their massive celebrity status, it would be enough to get them invited to the island. But as for why I think they take the invitation, well, let's just say that they don't have the greatest track record when it comes to their behavior. And also by they, I mostly mean Terrance, because Terrance is definitely the real asshole between the two of them. He's the one that's using live shows to sleep with fans and isn't around for his daughter. Also, Terrance might have murdered someone, and there's like full-on DNA evidence that basically proves that he did it, which he doesn't even care about because he just farts and laughs about it.
You may be a famous surgeon, but you're not God. J'ai accuse, Terrance.
Would you like a monkey claw, Phillip?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can see why some people hate these guys so much, even though I do find them hilarious. But yeah, the big difference with Phillip is that, unlike Terrance, we don't really see the same sort of depraved behavior from him. He's much lower on the douchebag tier list. But you know how it goes, Terrance and Phillip are a package deal, so if one of them goes to the island, the other one's probably coming too. And Terrance is definitely going to that island. So, what did Terrance and Phillip do on that island? Well, most of this part was redacted, but I think I found enough to piece it together. And yes, I'm sticking to this bit. I did that whole animation thing in the intro. I'm committed now. So first of all, Terrance and Phillip went there to attend a big party, a real rager. And while there, I imagine that for the most part, they were just getting drunk and maybe acting obnoxious like they usually do. If Terrance was offered anything questionable, I'd say he probably went for it. But at some point, it seems that they convinced one of the victims that they were gonna help free them and sneak them off the island. But just as they brought them to their private jet, where they were almost home free, Terrance farted on them and they both laughed as they got on their plane and left. And so the lesson here is that big celebrities are huge f***ing assholes.
I farted once on the set of Blue Lagoon.
Long before the Superdome, where the Saints of football play. Wait, hold on, that's too far back in time. Let me try this again. Long before Mr. Garrison teamed up with Caitlyn Jenner to run for presidency, there was a different corrupt politician in South Park. In fact, there was the original corrupt politician in South Park, and her name is Mayor McDaniels. Now, right from the get-go, from our first impression of her character, her whole shtick is that she's a total phony, self-serving mayor that cares more about appearances than the actual people in her town, which is pretty much exactly how we're first introduced to her in the season 1 episode Volcano.
All we know right now is that some of our children are camping on that mountain and... I'm sorry, can I start over?
Huh?
Well, you can edit this, right?
Now, Mayor McDaniels has generally been a pretty crummy mayor. I mean, she has her moments of actually trying to bring order to the town here and there, but for the most part, she kind of sucks. She's always offloading the town's problems onto other people instead of doing anything about it herself, which usually lands on the 4 boys. Like the time nobody was spending money on Christmas and the boys were expected to save the day with a holiday cartoon, or when she wanted to get the Harley Davidson riders out of town, or even that flag debate episode where the 4th grade class was expected to make the decision for her. Suffice to say, she's all appearance and no substance, which makes her basically every politician ever. But see, the thing is, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Mayor McDaniels is not just a dishonest and incompetent mayor, she's also pretty damn corrupt too. Like, let's not forget that in those early season episodes, she was doing it with Officer Barbrady, which is not only a major conflict of interest, but it's like also a weird power dynamic thing. Because let's be real, Officer Barbrady, especially in those early seasons, was basically like mentally on the same level as a child. So the fact that she was sleeping with him is just extra questionable. And I gotta say, starting to sound a little Epstein-y. Because I mean, look at him.
Officer Barbrady, what are you doing?
Now, to be fair, as a politician, Mayor McDaniels is definitely a different breed than someone like Mr. Garrison. Because where Garrison was bombastic and blunt, Mayor McDaniels seems to really value her optics and always wants to be well liked. But as we've seen from the many politicians who are named in the Epstein files, allegedly, optics have little to do with what happens behind closed doors. Now, you might think that it's a little bit surprising that the mayor of a small town would be invited to Epstein's Island, even if that town has been the center of several controversies and has arguably grown tremendously from how small it was in its early days. And I agree, it feels like a bit of a stretch that the mayor would be connected to Epstein. But her name's in the files, so it's confirmed. Nah, but for real though, I did actually find something that could help to explain this. Because according to SouthParkStudios.com, apparently Mayor McDaniels attended Princeton, which I don't remember being in an episode, but there it is. But yeah, as a graduate of a renowned Ivy League school, it makes a little more sense that she might be connected with people who were from that elite class, or who became part of that class. I mean, who knows, maybe nepotism is how she came to be mayor of South Park. I mean, have we ever seen proof that she was voted in? Think about it. Also, she ate people.
Well, there's no going back now. We're cannibals. God save us.
Yeah, I know that's got nothing to do with this, but it's still pretty up. But anyways, given all this information, given everything we know about her, here's what I think Mayor McDaniels did on the island. I think that she convinced someone to bring her along because she was desperate to network and rub elbows with as many elite people as possible, anything to be a part of the club, which probably means that she agreed to do some kind of horrific ritual to prove her loyalty. You know, something that has permanently scarred her for life and can be used as blackmail against her should she ever betray the group. So we'll never know exactly what she did, but I think whatever it was up. And it's probably left her with some deep regrets that she's forced to live with for the rest of her life.
But how will we live with ourselves now?
One day at a time, Mayor. One day at a time.
Oh yeah, baby, that's right. We're going there. You know it's true. Mr. Hankey was on Epstein's Island. Now, I may have talked up Terrance and Phillip as big celebrities in the world of South Park, but Mr. Hankey is on another level. Because not only is he known worldwide by basically everyone, but he's also an extremely rare type of celebrity. Because he's not a movie star or a musician or anything like that. No, Mr. Hankey is a Christmas deity. In fact, according to Father Maxey, he's apparently the poop of Jesus Christ himself. It's in the Bible, look it up. So the point is that not only would Mr. Hankey be known by Epstein, but he'd be a highly sought after guest given his unique status through culture and history. Like seriously, I think that from Epstein's perspective, he'd be like a shiny Pokemon or something. And so it goes without saying that, in my opinion, Mr. Hankey would get the invite. And I know that some of you might be thinking, no way, Mr. Hankey is a good guy, he'd never go there. And to those people I say, really? Really? Because need I remind you that Mr. Hankey is also a drug addict? Like, remember the time that he got fired from the Christmas play for making racist tweets, and then he blamed it on taking Ambien, only to then refuse to stop taking more Ambien?
Fine, I'll help you. But listen to me. I don't care how restless you get tonight. No Ambien!
Well, maybe just a little if I really can't sleep.
I know that's making fun of Roseanne Barr, but it's canon now, baby. Okay, so maybe he's not a drug addict, but he does repeatedly push everyone out of his life. So I think that alone already puts his decision-making into question. But when you combine it with the fact that we've also seen him act like a total asshole towards his wife, or even a Kyle in some cases, I don't know. I guess I just wouldn't be so sure that Mr. Hankey is too morally righteous to take Epstein up on an invitation. Dude's got issues. Now, as for what happened there, my guess is that he probably went there to party, like most celebrities do, allegedly. I'm willing to bet that he got way too trashed and committed some kind of major party foul that got him kicked off the invitation list permanently. Probably something that had to do with poo, if I'm guessing. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Hankey is so out of control that even Epstein people think he's too much. And with that reputation now dragged through the mud in every circle possible, he's forced to wander the sewers alone until Trey and Matt are ready to bring him back finally. Except for maybe Santa. I think Santa's still friends with him.
Well, that's no problem for the hometown of my favorite holiday poo. Where is Mr. Hankey?
Alright, so before we move on to our final name from the files, I kind of want to do a bit of a lightning round where I list off a bunch of characters that I feel like could be on the list, but I just don't have enough to say about them to dedicate an entire section to it. So we're gonna do that here. Are you ready? Actually, wait, can we change something here first? I'm not getting enough bonus round vibes from this screen. Hey, video guy, can we get a little more style, please? Now that's what I'm talking about. All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1, go. Now, first of all, you know he's alive. We've seen him move a bunch of times, so I think this counts. But yeah, Mr. Hat is one evil dude. He's a member of the KKK. He tried to kill Mr. Twig a handful of times. He also comes off as sexually aggressive. He's just not a good guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was super connected to all sorts of crazy people, especially the kind that are in the Epstein files. Now, don't get my words twisted here. I am not saying that regular Chef would end up in the files, because regular Chef is one of the best goddamn people in South Park. But brainwashed Chef, the chef that was once a part of the Super Adventurer Club, I could see that chef getting mixed up in some weird sex trafficking shit with Ghislaine and Jeffrey. Like, it wouldn't be surprising to me if he ended up on that island during that time period where he was traveling with the club. So it pains me to say this, but it could definitely happen. Yeah, he's barely even a character, but like, he chickens. Enough said. Now, I know I said it wouldn't be covering any real celebrities or politicians, but the South Park version of Mickey Mouse kind of blurs the lines between fake and real. I'm gonna allow it for the lightning round. Because I mean, what is there even to say? This dude is evil, rich as hell, one of the most powerful characters in the show in terms of his influence, so there is just absolutely no way Mickey Mouse wouldn't be in the Epstein files. Allegedly. Huh? Come on. Come on. Okay, so this one might seem weird because, like, why would Nathan, the guy who mostly exists as an antagonist to Jimmy, have anything to do with the Epstein files? Well, let me tell you, in season 19, the episodes where the ads had become sentient and were trying to take over the world, guess who was already working for the ads? Yeah, that's right. Nathan. And that tells me that he's actually a very savvy and connected individual. I mean, how else did he get ahead of the ad thing so fast when nobody else saw it coming? So don't be fooled by his weird head tilt and innocent expression. That kid's definitely up to something, and it's not good.
Shut up, Mimsy.
Oh, sorry, boss.
So we're finally at the end of the list. And now that we're here, I gotta know, are you surprised by this one? Did you see it coming? Because there was a time when I would have never expected to see Randy on this list. But these days, he just ain't got no integrity no more. Now, to be fair, Randy has never been perfect. In fact, even in the early seasons, he already seemed to have a problem with drinking. Like, for example, he was at that teenager party in Cartman and Kenny's clubhouse, and he was also one of the wasted Confederacy soldiers fueled by s'more schnapps and Red Badge of Gayness. But truly, it's the second half of the show that turned Randy into the insane party animal we know today. Because whether it's episodes like Sons of Witches, About Last Night, Broadway Brodown, or even the recent Spring Break episode that for some reason had a guy who looked like Andrew Tate in it, it's clear that Randy has evolved into someone with little to no self-control that takes things way too far. Like the time he punched his boss in the face because Obama was elected, or when he a pangolin in China and started a pandemic. The point is that Randy has a dark side to him, and that dark side tends to come out when he's wasted. We actually see a pretty good example of this in The Fractured Butthole, where we see him complaining about someone vandalizing Sharon's car, only for the game to reveal that Randy is the one doing it when he gets wasted.
Bitch! Let's see how you like this!
I am Captain Diabetes, and this is my faithful sidekick.
Oh, okay. Well, move out of the way, huh? I need to go buy some more beer.
I really need to replay that game. But even though Randy can be pretty bad when he's drunk, he can also be bad when he's sober. Cause let's be real, sober Randy has a pretty bad history too. Like the time he cut off that actor's hand in Future Self and Me to avoid having an uncomfortable talk with Stan. Or when he murdered Winnie the Pooh to sweeten a deal with China. Yeah, what'd you think I was gonna say? He's a sweet guy when he's sober? Hell no. We're talking about a man that blew up people's backyards because they were growing their own weed, that sold Towley into slavery to the President of the United States, which was actually arguably a form of sex trafficking right there. And by arguably, I mean not arguably, because that's exactly what it was. But yeah, I think it goes without saying that Randy has become a very immoral person as the series has gone on. Like, there are just too many examples to go through them all at this point. So in my opinion, it's not all that surprising that he'd want to network with scummy people and party on Epstein's island, especially if it can lead to some kind of opportunity for him. But if we're being honest, what really makes Randy remarkable is that, despite his abrasive personality and penchant for screwing people over, he almost always seems to find himself in positions of power or in friendships with other rich and powerful people. Like, for example, when he became the spokesperson for Earth after aliens made contact in the episode Pinewood Derby, or how he became the town representative in season 19 when they were trying to get a Whole Foods, or even just the fact that he had any friendship at all with Mickey Mouse.
Boy, you sure know how to party, Mick.
Oh my God, look at her!
bad.
Also, you gotta remember that Randy was friends with Garrison, according to the Witches episode, so he's clearly very well connected. And that alone is probably enough to get him an invite to the island. But just in case you're still not convinced, let's not forget about the fact that Randy is also Lord. Yeah. So on top of everything, he also has the celebrity angle going for him too, which just makes him too strong of a candidate to not be on the list, you know? And here's how I think it went down. Randy was invited to party on the island, but because he wanted to make a good impression and network with as many of the elite people as possible, he actually used Tegrity to supply drugs for the party. That way he can act like he's partly responsible for the good time that everyone's having. Now personally, I don't think he got involved in the sex trafficking stuff. I don't think he slept with any of the victims or anything like that, because oddly, the one thing that Randy seems to be consistently good about is not cheating on Sharon. I mean, with other women. Bats and pangolins are obviously a different story. But yeah, I do think that he probably struck some highly unethical deals with the people he met there, and possibly murdered someone if he had to. But mostly, his main role was probably just to supply the substances and otherwise focus on partying and schmoozing, because that just sounds like the exact type of thing that Randy would get himself into.
Hey, come on, people! We can keep partying, can't we? Yes, we can!
And that's it, guys. We did it. We went through every name on the list. We got through the last bit of the new Epstein files that I was able to unredact, and now you know the truth. And look, I know that the government obviously didn't want us to know all that, but I'm glad I was able to get around the redaction a bit, expose a few more shady characters before it was too late, and finally give those... Hold on a sec, someone's at my door. Oh, I know my rights. I didn't do anything wrong. You can't just... No, please. No. I'll be good. Please. No. Please.